Hi everyone! Today I thought we would try an infusible ink project on cotton canvas. I recently learned how to do this, and this video that I'm about to show you I actually recorded back in September of 2022, but I have so many videos that I've been recording and I'm so behind on uploading all these videos, that these things that I have been trying out. So I'm just getting to September and I have many more things to show you, so stay tuned. Of course, my things, a lot of them I'm learning myself and trying to show you with my mistakes and all, so that you can learn from my mistakes and hopefully learn something from me in the process. So at my work, we were trying to come up with a craft or an activity that all our staff could do, and I was telling my manager about the infusible ink pens and how great they are, and that we could get some coloring books. We have some indigenous coloring books, and that we could color some images and then infuse them onto tote bags, canvases, you name it. So what I've done is I've taken one of the images out of the coloring book and I've uploaded it and converted it to an SVG so that I can have it draw this out instead of coloring the coloring page directly. I wanted Cricut to do the pen outline and then we will color the inside. So this is what I've done now. I've uploaded the image after converting it to an SVG. Already printed it out because, as I said, I did this video back in September, but I'm just doing the intro to it now. So once you remove your image from the Cricut machine, after it's been drawn out for you, you just color in what you want, and you can really use whichever infusible ink pens you want. I have, the freehand markers. These ones are 1mm. Then I have some that are 2mm. These ones though have a brush tip, so they color in a little bit easier. I even have bought some Cricut Joy 1mm pens. I don't have a Cricut. I mean, I have a Cricut machine, but not a Cricut Joy machine. So I just use them strictly for hand coloring. And then, I have this whole pack of pens, which is for the Cricut Maker. But again, I can use any of these to hand draw as well. So you don't have to only use the freehand markers. You can use all of them. And then you just color in whatever you're going to color in here. And when you're done, when I'm done, I will demonstrate the next step. I've colored this in, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but after you make sure that when you do your design that it fits on the canvas, because I had this image sized to 7.5 because the canvas is supposed to be 8 by 8 and it is actually at its max. So I don't know how this is 7.5 because it's fitting exactly. So probably would have been better to do 7 by 7 just to make sure that it fits completely. So now I'm hoping that I can get the whole image on. But you take your image, and if you're doing it on something like a canvas that, you know, it's not going to go through onto your pressing mat, so you don't need a protective sheet. But if you're doing it on a t-shirt or a tote bag or something, the ink will go through into your mat, and I can show you proof of that because I did that once by mistake. I forgot to put a piece of paper to protect my mat because the infusible ink will go through this way and it'll go through this way. It'll go down and up. So I'm going to put this on here and tape it in place. So I think I already, no, I don't have, okay. So I'm going to make sure that this is going to fit as much as it can. Now I'm going to tape it because if this shifts while I am doing it, you will get either a double image or you will get uneven image or like a ghosting kind of thing happen. And you have to use heat tape, heat resistant tape when you're doing this because other tape will melt. So make sure you buy that. And now we can get a piece of, use butcher paper because as I said, the ink will come through and then it'll get on your heat press and correct the heat thing. So you have to put the butcher paper here. Then you're going to take your heat press and make sure you place it down in one movement and don't move it around because you might shift the image. So I have to, because my press is only a 9x9, I have to hope that I put this in the right position. Okay, there we go. I'm going to try this for 40 seconds and hope that that's enough, and I think I might have just shifted. Darn it. Hopefully my tape is holding it in place because I think I might have shifted it slightly. The problem with the butcher paper is that it's slippery, so it's really easy to move the press around, and probably almost better off placing it and then just not touching it because you don't really want to put a lot of pressure on. You don't want to like pressure because the middle of the canvas is vacant and you don't want to create an uneven surface by pressing too hard. It might concave down in the middle and then your image will also have some ghosting. If you're doing too big of a canvas, then you might want to put like a pillow or some wood or something of equal depth underneath in the hole. You can also remove the canvas and do the canvas by itself and then reattach the canvas. But I'm hoping that this will work without having to do those steps because this is only an 8x8. I'm just going to let this cool for a little bit and I will be back. Okay, I'm going to remove this because it'll help it cool a little bit more. And if you notice, see how there is ink on this butcher paper? There's not a lot of ink, so usually more ink comes off, so now I'm hoping that this worked. I did do a little canvas, I think this is like 3x3 or 4x4 from the dollar store, and it worked fine, but also it is a small piece, so I'm a little bit worried about the bigger size and it not working properly with the gap in the middle. Alright, so you're supposed to let it cool down a bit. It's still warm, but I can touch it now without burning myself. And let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so it didn't work. I've seen people buying laminating pouches first and putting that on, or there's some sublimation spray. So what I think I'll do is I'm gonna have to try it again using those methods, but I have to buy the stuff first, and then I will show you those results. In the meantime, I think there's a lot of ink left on this, so I have another dollar store canvas here somewhere, and I'm gonna see if, well, actually this one was from Michael's. The other canvas I have is slightly different, so I'm gonna see if that'll work. Okay, so here's the other canvas I have. This was from Dollarama, I think, and it's a completely different one. It's completely flat, so that should be more solid, except it is a little bit warped, so that may also factor into it not working properly. And on the last one, I actually forgot to warm this a little bit first. You need to, warm it for about 5 seconds to take out any moisture. And there we go again. So let's see if this one works any better. These ones would actually be cheaper because the other one was a 10-pack for, I think, $17, and these ones are, the $1.50. So this one, and I hope there's enough ink left on this to do it again, because I should probably add some more ink to make this. Maybe I should add some more ink. Okay, so I've recolored the red, the black outline of everything, and the green, but I didn't fill in all the intersection because that'll just be too much work, especially if it fails. So I don't want to waste more ink on this failing. Okay, oh yeah, I need butcher paper again. Almost forgot again. I would have had it on my iron again. I'm just going to try to reuse the same one. If I put it in exactly the same position, then I probably won't get cross ink. Okay. So you know what? I'm going to up my time to 45 seconds too. Because who knows, maybe it wasn't on long enough. I tried to look up what other people were doing. Somebody said 365, somebody said 400, somebody said 35 to 45 seconds. And I'll be back on after it cools for the reveal. Okay, fingers crossed that it worked better on a solid surface and for an extra 5 seconds. Because it worked no problem on this small one. Same thing, pretty much. I don't know why, but the green worked really well. And like the red's brighter down here than up here, even though I did refill all the red. But on this one it worked so well. You can tell that it's so faint on this one. So I wish I could remember which dollar store I got these at, 'cause I'm going to buy some more. Because they work really well. But I'm going to have to buy some laminating pouches, and I will test that next. Okay, so here we go. I purchased some Scotch brand thermal laminating pouches. I believe they were 3 mil for thickness, and they come out of the package looking like this, and you have to peel them apart. And I already did that. These are 2 halves. And then I am going to set this up. I'm going to put a big piece of this down because I have heard that the laminate might go over a bit, and unfortunately my press is only 9x9, so I had prepared my next image as a 9x9, or actually it's more like 8x8, but the press is 9x9. Unfortunately, this canvas that I just picked up from the dollar store today is probably an 8x10, so it's too big, and I won't be able to press an 8x10 sheet because my thing's only 9x9. So what I'm going to do is do it sideways, because this is approximately 9 inches now, and what I read online was that you press it for 120 seconds at 350 degrees. Okay, so it's the shiny side that goes up, the dull side goes down. It almost feels like this side, the dull side, is like a little bit stickier. So that would make more sense that it's going to stick when you heat it. So just in case you're wondering, I have a couple pieces of Teflon sheet under here because apparently the overlapping part will peel off better on the Teflon than the butcher paper. It might stick to the butcher paper when you're trying to peel it off. Okay, here goes nothing. I'm really skeptical about all this. Okay. 120 seconds seems like a long time, but it's only at 350, so. And this is going to be so weird. I wish I had bought the bigger size press. Okay, ooh, I can see it melting up. Okay, so see if I can move this down a little bit over the top there. So it's going to be interesting because this press is also a rounded shape. So now I'm going to have these pieces sticking out in the corner here that don't. So moral of the story is I need a smaller canvas to do this on. But this is fine because it's just a test anyways. So I will come back on after this counts down. Okay, so I've let this cool now after having it on for 120 seconds. And I'm just going to trim off this excess on this side. Sorry, I guess you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm going to just try and press the sides of this down just a little bit from when I just cut it. Okay. Hopefully I didn't heat it up too much. Alright, so here we go. So one other thing to note is this time I did the image on 65-pound cardstock instead of what I usually do, which is just the 20-pound paper. And the reason is because when I do this, it always curls. It like almost rips when I take it off my mat, and this makes it a lot easier to peel off the mat. So I'm hoping that that doesn't make a difference using a thicker piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to, hopefully it's cool because I don't want it to start sublimating before I tape it on. Okay, so my laminate only goes to here, so I just have to make sure that I'm in the lines
of where the laminate is. And actually someone had a trick of doing it this way. Although for me, because my page, I can see through it. I can see through this no problem, so I can center it like this. Alright, let me tape this down. Okay, so I put lots of tape on. Unfortunately, I'm noticing that the board is warped a little bit, so this may cause a problem. Gotta remember to put my butcher paper on top so the ink does not bleed through. And now it makes it harder for me to see where my image is. Okay, it's right there to there. And I'm gonna, oh shoot, I felt it slide again. I don't know if I told you, but I'm doing this part at 385 for 50 seconds, which is a little bit more than I did it prior without the laminate. Hopefully having it on a little bit longer will make a difference. Now I'm afraid when I lift this up, I'm going to shift something. So I'm going to try and lift it. Don't have the heat resistant gloves yet. That'll be another thing to try, but I keep reading reviews. If anybody has a good pair that they use and they like, let me know, because I keep looking at them and reading reviews and people will say, oh no, it wasn't good for sublimation. So I'm going to let this cool down and I will come back. Okay, I'm actually a little bit worried because I don't see much ink on the butcher paper that I removed, and usually I do see some that bleeds through. That could be due to the fact that I was using the 65-pound paper, so it's not coming through as much. But here we go. And I just hope that I don't get any ghosting. Okay, right when I was going to do the reveal, my storage low thing came on, so now I hope I didn't ruin it by stopping and having it shift on me. Okay, there we go. You can tell it works. I don't know how much longer I have before my camera's gonna die. So yay, we finally found a solution. This is wonderful. Looks like something happened here on the foot a little bit. I think that was when I was trying to pull it up and then my camera died and I put it back down again. But yeah, look how shiny this is. And it's so much better than when I tried to do this without. See how the difference? So yay, we found a solution. Okay, so I just repressed the flat board one after I put the laminate on, and this one worked so much better. So, and I didn't reapply the ink to this, so the parts that kind of look purple, that's already been pressed like 2 or 3 times because I didn't re-ink that area. So, and I didn't re-ink this before doing this one either. It was just the leftover ink that was there, but it still looks so much better than using the raised canvases. So there you go. I hope my experimenting helped you to help you make decisions on what you should try to do or not. The flat canvases are better in this case. And good luck. Okay, so remember my failed attempt? What I did was, on these failed attempt ones, I've put down the laminate on top. I did that on this one too. You can see there's some shiny stuff here. I'm trying to put this in the exact same spot as the one underneath, and so that I can try and not waste this canvas. Another thing I thought of doing, if I have some proper tools, what I want to do is make a piece of wood that fits exactly in here of the equal height, so that this is solid here when you're pressing, because otherwise this decreases and it doesn't get an even press. But what I did find for right now is this box. Unfortunately, it's too high. If I could have just taken the lid off, which actually I could probably take the lid off now that I look at this. The lid's still too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there. So that's going to give me a solid center now. Now, unfortunately, I notice that still now the stuff hanging over isn't very solid. So I actually need something under here, and I don't have anything that fits exactly. But what I am going to do is I have this box here. Almost fits. I think it does fit pretty good. And it's mostly this corner that I need pressed over here. So this is where I want the pressure. And then, if I remember correctly, the leaves last time worked fairly decent. Let's just give this a shot and see what happens. Here goes nothing. Oh, I almost did it again. I almost forgot to put butcher paper on. I would have had it all over my press. Okay, I hope that that is flat enough. And I'll let this count down and I'll be back shortly. Alright, let's see if I was able to get this one to work. It depends on if I lined it up properly. Okay, well, I mean, it's bright now, but it's still had a lot of ghosting and not enough pressure in these areas here. So I would definitely stick to using the flat board canvas instead of trying to make this flat enough to use. I mean, the other option is to take the canvas off and press it first and then put the canvas back on. But to me, that's a lot of work. If you want to do this with your whole class, and you'd have to do all that work of taking this off. I know you can take it off by using a cutter and then using glue to put it back on, so it's not too bad, but still. Okay, there you have it.